episode of Driving with Randy. It's episode 7. What do we have in store today for everybody? Not a whole lot. I do not have a whole lot on my mind, but I want to get back on this grind of making podcasts so I can finally release them. I don't know why I tell you this about the whole releasing thing, as when you hear this, obviously my podcast has been released. So this is episode 7, and we are completely off the cuff. There's legit nothing that I have planned for this episode. Normally what I've been doing is I've been taking notes, putting them in my notepad, and then, I just totally ran a red light. Well, there's no cops around, so we aren't getting pulled over. That's a good thing. That light is extremely long, though. It's almost beneficial to take a right-hand turn on red and pop a U-ey in a parking lot because of how long it takes. I saw it turn green as I was rounding the corner, so I thought, hey, I probably can make it. Well, I was kind of halfway in the intersection when it turned green, or turned red, but that's all right. We didn't hit anyone. We were safe during the whole thing, and we didn't get pulled over, so we're gonna continue rolling on down now. I've been talking a lot to my coworkers about the podcast, as it's something they know I really love. I really love podcasts in general, so the idea of starting one, they're really behind. And honestly, I feel like it'd be so much more entertaining with guests, and we will totally get around to that. I got 2 weekends coming up that I'm kind of trying to plan out. So I'm not really wanting to call into work 2 Fridays in a row, so I'm trying to figure out a way where I can work Friday one of the weeks and still make it to where I want to go. And that would be with one of my friends, which I've spoke about before. His name's Bryce. I feel like you guys would really enjoy that. I do think he'd be 100% down to record. But I've been also speaking to coworkers about ideas. I brought up in the last episode, I want some kind of a red light challenge type thing. And there's not a whole lot I can do with just audio. So perhaps we'll have to brainstorm hard. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you. Although I don't have any social media set up right now for my account, we'll get that ready for the next episode. We'll get some social media going, maybe start a Twitter so that, or Driving with Randy Twitter, so that everyone can join along. I can tweet out new episodes, get subject matter to speak about, so it's not just me rambling on. But that's kind of the idea of the podcast, though, is just me rambling on. We're getting to this section here, actually, on the road that, it looks like they have half this ramp closed. This ramp, it was 40 degrees out one night coming home, and I still hit black ice. It was gnarly. I was sliding all over the place on this turn. So I'm been a little cautious about doing this whole turn. Anyways, we're going to speak a little more about the podcast, the Red Light Challenge. You know, the first thing that came to my mind, as well as the first thing that came to one of my coworkers' minds, was Chinese fire drill. If you're not familiar with the term, at least we use it here in Minnesota. I do feel it's not probably the nicest term to use, and I couldn't tell you why it's called that. Essentially what it is you stop the car, you get out of your car, you do a full 360 around your car, and then you hop back in. I don't know why they call it a Chinese fire drill, but that was the first thing that came to mind. But then I thought, you know what, the audio isn't going to be very good. Like, you'd hear me open the door, you'd hear just a bunch of the mic hitting me and whatnot, and it won't end up being good. So I'm going to have to think of something. If you have any ideas for some kind of a red light challenge that would work perfectly for audio, I'd love to hear from you. I'm more than open for suggestions. I also, if you have any other suggestions to make the podcast better, as I said, this is episode 7. So we're starting off, we're not looking to get big, you know. The first 20 to 100 episodes, we're looking to just kind of build a fan base. And I want to get 1,000 views across the board on all my podcasts throughout the year. So this is kind of the year to do that. So I'm not sure what kind of time I'm going to be having. You know, a big part of my time used to be inline skating, but with my whole knee problem, which I got to figure out, but I keep putting it off. I feel like once we figure out this knee problem, if it's substantial, or is that a good, I don't know what that means. If it's a large enough problem where I'll have to have surgery, I'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks of work probably, based on what I read online. So I'd have plenty of time to get some podcast episodes. Maybe we can get a driving with Randy, but it'd be more of a chilling with Randy. We'd be chilling on the couch or something. Not a whole lot I can complain about from the couch besides probably my knee, the same stuff I complain about here on this podcast. But yeah, 1,000 views, I think I had said that before, 1,000 listens throughout all my podcasts for the year. That's the goal. We're not looking to, you know, strike it big, 100,000 views. If it happens, it happens. But this is kind of more of a hobby, you know, some more for myself to do. So with that being said, as the podcast grows, as I get further along in my podcasting career, of course, the microphone upgrade is going to happen. Like I said, I'm using a crappy little iTunes mic, so it's Apple earbuds. So it's not the greatest mic in the world, but if we get big enough, and so say I'm getting 2,000, 3,000 listens, that's a substantial number. I feel like people would really want me to upgrade the audio quality. So I have no problem investing some money into a good mic. I was looking online, and some good portable mics for something like this were, you know, running maybe 100, 150. You know, for a low end, you know, I don't think a very high end mic for this type of podcast would be of use, but I would probably have to invest in 2 if we're going for a car ride with someone. I want to say maybe once every 25 episodes we can maybe get someone in here, and we'll have a little session. You know, like I said, I'm not sure how that'll work with someone else being in the car with me. I know there's a lot of background noise as it is with the whole, you know, the car, but I don't know if we're both recording. Like, obviously I'm using the voice memo thing on my phone. If I was using the voice memo and say my guest was using the voice memo, I don't know if my voice would end up being heard on their end, and that, I'm sure that's something I can fix. If I have a nice mic, it'd be a gain thing, but right now we're doing the whole test. Maybe we'll have to have the person sit in the back seat instead of, you know, it'd be more like a taxi ride than a ride and passenger with Randy. But you know, we're open to ideas. I have a really funny story about that, actually. See, this is why we're doing it off the cuff, because what is this guy doing? It's kind of, okay, anyways. Off the cuff kind of a thing. I don't know if that's the right term. Off the cuff, off the rails. It wasn't planned. Anyways. So I have a story about sitting in the back seat, actually. I remember one time I was... God, what were we doing? I know, I say I remember and then I forget. We were doing something, me and my mother, where I had to... Oh, now I remember. So I dropped my mother off at my grandparents' house, They moved to Arizona, but when they lived here, I dropped my mom off at my grandparents' house, and then I was very into freestyle drone flying. So I can do a whole episode on getting into specs of drones. I'm not too into the scene as of late, so I don't know any of the new stuff, but I used to fly these drones that were freestyle, so they wouldn't have self-leveling. It'd be 100% manual. They'd be running these small motors and pretty small high voltage batteries. I was running 4-cell batteries, which is 14.7 cells, or 14.7 volts, 4 cells. Each cell is 3.8, 3.7, something like that. It's, like I said, it's been a bit, but I used to fly them, and I was meeting some friends in the area that my grandparents went. So I dropped my mom off, and then I met up with some friends, and we just had a good time flying, and then I was going to pick my mom up. Well, me being the asshole that I am, I let my drones ride passenger on the way home, and I made my mom ride in the back seat. So it's nothing new. Oh, we got some lights up here. This guy's not moving over. I don't know what it is. Maybe a tow truck of sorts. Yeah, I'm not too opposed to making passengers ride in the back seat. Maybe when I finally get one of these dates on Tinder or Bumble, we'll have to pick them up and have them ride in the back. Oh God, I'm sure the date would be over before it even started. You know, I have my coat up passenger seat or something, and just like, oh, you gotta hop in the back. That would be super sketchy though. Who in their right mind would actually get in? But you know, that's all part of the fun, I guess. Maybe they'd get a kick out of it. I suppose if I'm meeting up with a girl, they have to have the same sense of humor as me, and that's the kind of humor I'm into, I suppose. I want a whole load of guests on here, though. I want my coworker Andrew. My God, he is fun to talk with. You know, me and him were gonna start a podcast. We were gonna call it, it's been such a long time. I wish I could remember. It was some bullshitting or something like that. It was pretty. There was curse words in it. I don't remember what it was, but the whole idea was we were just gonna ramble on a whole bunch of stuff. So I'd love for him to get on my podcast here, Driving with Randy, go for a ride with him. That's the same coworker that I mentioned in a previous video, or why do I keep saying video? A previous podcast about how I told him that he needs to domesticate his children when they got like barbecue getting slimed by Nickelodeon. Oh, good times. If you haven't checked out that episode, I want to say it was episode 5. It might have been episode 5. What was it? That was kind of a... There's the Amtrak. It's 9:30. The Amtrak rolls through. Oh, that's not the Amtrak. I'm a moron. Well, there's an Amtrak that we missed then. It rolls through at 9:30 every day. It's 9:36, so something else was rolling through the train yard. We're along the train yard. I know I mention that almost every time I'm along the train yard. And you kind of get the idea. You know, 15 minutes in or so, we're going to be along the train yard. That's both ways, too, because it's about a half hour, so 15 minutes in, 15 minutes back. You get the idea. Well, something I talked about briefly in my last episode was being an advocate for drinking a gallon of water. It's something very few people do, so they're not hydrated. But once you start doing it, I used to be tired on my way home. I used to be tired at work. I started drinking. I just have very high energy levels as of lately since I got back on this. This is something I did last year during the inline season. I changed my diet up. I'd eliminate processed sugar, which are absolutely terrible for you. If you're overweight, a very simple way to lose weight, just cut processed sugar completely. Now, that means instead of Pop-Tarts, make a better decision, eggs. If Pop-Tarts are something that's more convenient, I get it, eggs aren't that convenient to make. I make an egg sandwich every morning, egg, ham, and cheese. If that's not something you're able to do, switch it out for some, I know granola bars are typically high in sugar. There's got to be a natural option out there for something like that. Ice cream, I cut that. Alcohol, I cut that. Pretty much I eat the same thing every day. And people tend to make fun of me for that. But here's what I have to say about eating the same thing every day. I never have to worry about what I'm eating, Oh, what am I going to have for breakfast? Egg, ham, and cheese and a bowl of fruit. Every day. Same thing. Every day. If, something comes to my mind, hey, I want scrambled eggs, I'll deter from the plan and make some scrambled eggs. But that's something that just comes to my mind. If there's nothing in my mind, it's just egg, ham, and cheese sandwich. And I love egg, ham, and cheese sandwiches. I put it on raisin toasts, cinnamon raisin bread, so it's very good. Actually, this morning I kind of switched it up a little bit. I had it on a French roll because we had some French rolls, so I popped that in the toaster, and that's what I made. Now, what I have for my second meal, there's the Amtrak 939 going through. There's 4 cars on it today. I want to say it's the Amtrak from Chicago. It's coming from the south, so that rail line goes south. Just like this podcast is going south. My God, I just keep getting distracted. I don't know what I'm saying. But I've managed to talk quite a bit for not necessarily having anything planned. Typically for my second meal, I will have spaghetti. So at the beginning of the week, oh God, this is a whole debate in itself. When we have Andrew on, I'll make sure we talk about this whole ordeal. I call it spaghetti. I call everything spaghetti. Any type of noodle. I had bow tie today. It's easier just to say I had spaghetti. I had bow tie noodles and red sauce. I have that almost every day. So at the beginning of the week, what I'll do is I will make a whole box of noodles. Again, this is a very cost-efficient way to live as well. I mean, a box of noodles, I believe I got these bow tie noodles for $137, and it lasts me probably 4 meals. That's pretty dang good. I just make a whole pack one day, and then I'll microwave them with buy a jar of ragu. So I'll fill a bowl up with my noodle of choice. Usually I go with bow tie or rotini. Sometimes I'll switch it up. I'll make some actual spaghetti. And what I do is, I'm a big fan of spices. When I used to make oatmeal, I used to load it up with cinnamon. My egg, ham, and cheese sandwich, I load that up with pepper. I love spices. So with the spaghetti, what I do is I put my bow tie noodles in a bowl. Oh, but the reason that's a whole controversial thing is because they get so, I hate to use the word triggered, but they get so upset when I say, oh, I had spaghetti today, and they're like, no, you didn't. You had bow tie pasta. You did not have spaghetti. I say spaghetti about everything. So when he's here, I'm going to make sure to bring that up. I know he'll be listening to my podcast, so he's going to get an idea of what's going down, He's going to get an idea, when I'm on, he's going to be talking about spaghetti. He's going to bring it up. He's going to irritate me. So I put spaghetti in a bowl, my spaghetti of choice. In this case, today, it was bow tie. I put ragu all over it. Ragu is just red sauce. They have different flavors. I personally, I have nothing against meat. I just don't like the meat ragu. Personally, it's It's meat from. Oh, we're at a red light. This would call for a red light challenge. Get your suggestions in. I'd love to do a red light challenge. Some kind of maybe it's some kind of a question that a viewer has we can answer at a red light. No, most of my drive's on a highway, so I'm not going to be at red lights very often, but it's certainly something I can address. Anyways, we're getting off track on the whole spaghetti thing. Put ragu in. The meat, it's on a shelf. Meat, I don't know if it's meat flavored or if there's actually chunks of meat in it. I've had it before and it's not. Wow, you asshole. I'm going above the speed limit right now and he just absolutely flew by me. Follow the speed limit, idiot. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. This whole spaghetti thing is dragging out. Like, maybe one of my coworker Mark was right about the whole. This podcast won't work. I'm just gonna get distracted and I'm not gonna have good minds. But maybe that's why people will like it. I personally, like I said, I'm doing this for myself. So I get traditional ragu, and then I put garlic powder. I believe it's garlic powder. I don't think I do garlic salt. So I live with my parents. In our spice jar or spice cabinet, I have all my spices stacked so no one touches them. Because one time we had an incident where the garlic powder got mixed up with onion powder. Now, while onion powder isn't bad, I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a garlicky taste, right? No, not one bit. It tasted like onion. So now I put my red peppers, my crushed dried red peppers, the kind you can get at a pizza place and put on your pizza. I love those things. I will load her up with it. That is not a cop. That's just a guy that wants to follow closely. Okay. Anyways, we were talking about I load my spaghetti up with cheese. Construction signs. They load it up with cheese and Parmesan, of course, Parmesan and crushed red peppers. And it's a delight. I have it every day for my second meal. My favorite snack is trail mix. While it isn't the best, it's a pretty high calorie meal. Nuts are very high in calories, so it's not the best because a lot of raisins have added sugar, as well as M&Ms are, that's sugar, but that's kind of my cheat thing. It's not necessarily god awful for you. Oh my God, I thought that guy wasn't going to turn. There's a car half mile up the road. That's my snack of choice is trail mix. I love it. Before work, I typically have something on the way to work. You guys know that. I've done a couple of podcasts on the way in. And recently, I used to do Cliff Bars. As of recent, I've been eating Lara Bars. I don't know if it's a local thing or what. It's called a Lara Bar, something like that. Larabar. It's the whole thing on it is it's simple. The one I had today was in apple pie. It has 6 ingredients and they advertise that. It's like dehydrated apples, cinnamon, some kind of a nut. It's really good. It really is. I have another in my car here that is a blueberry muffin. I didn't really like it. I had one before, but the last time I was at the store, I bought 2 blueberry muffin and 1 apple pie one. I just didn't feel like the blueberry muffin tasted like blueberry muffin. But they're really cheap. It's there's some. What the hell is that? Oh my God, a possum! There was a possum in the middle of the road. Oh, I kind of want to go around the roundabout just to see it again. It's not. Oh, there was a possum. That's so cool. It had its long tail drive. I don't know. Do we have possums? I'm gonna have to ask some. I don't know if we have possums in Minnesota. I'm gonna have to ask my father or my brother when I get home here what it possibly was. That was cool though. Wasn't a raccoon. Larabars. That's what I was talking about. Not a sponsor, but if you're 7 episodes in, Larabar, and you're like, dang, this is a good podcast, and now he's shouting us out, send some my way. Get in contact with me. I love them. My local grocery store sells them for 10 for 10. Now, I like this about my grocery store, actually. My grocery store will do a 10 for 10 deal, but if you only want 3 of them, they'll still give you that same pricing. So instead of it being, $1.29, how it's advertised, if they do a 10 for 10, they're still giving you the same deal for 3. If you're doing, it's a 3 for 3, that kind of a deal. Well, I am home. I can't believe that I made it this long. I wasn't expecting it to be this long. It actually appears I've been talking extremely loud this entire time, so we're going to have to see how that comes into play. I appreciate everyone joining in, and we will see you guys on episode 8. I am out of here, Road Rage Randy. Peace. Bye.